Good afternoon. We're coming up on the 12 noon hour here, west coast of Canada. Blake and Victoria, myself and Nanaimo. We're covering stories in the United States, Canada, and I guess we're not getting the representation today from England. England, even though there's news there every day too, that just makes your stomach turn, and it's just crazy out there. We got a number of stories we're covering. Tim Walz is in big doo-doo out there in Minnesota, fraud. And Trump just had an important cabinet meeting today, the last one of the year. And very interesting. We're coming up to the conclusion of the president's first year of his second term. And boy, the fireworks, the opposition, enemies from within, enemies without. But there's some really great things that are happening, developing. A lot of the dirt, a lot of the fermentation is coming to light. We're seeing a lot come to light. Very important. Big news out of Venezuela. It's like one report said that Maduro, who's the Iron Man over there in Venezuela, has actually, one report that I read was suggesting that he says Biden got him to bring in the, add to Tregua or whatever, the gang of criminals, these bad people, that he actually worked a deal with Biden to get those characters into the USA. Yeah. Alarming if true, because it means that, it's treason. It's treason. You're undermining. These are enemies of the United States against all enemies, foreign and domestic. Remember your oath. Look out. So there's big trouble there. But let's take a look. Jim Ferguson has been really good. He's put his neck out on this thing. And there's Jim. I got to get all my ducks in a row. A lot of stuff here. Okay. As always, I got to check, make sure that you kids can see what's going on here. Yeah, you can see it. Okay. Yep. Alert, Russia and China abandon Maduro. Okay. So Russia, China been there on his back, helping him out. At the height of his escalating confrontation with the U.S., Nicolas Maduro has just lost his biggest backers. According to the Wall Street Journal, Russia will not intervene. China will not lift a finger. Iran won't risk a single move to save him. For all the anti-American rhetoric and bluster, none of these powers are willing to challenge the U.S. for a cornered narco dictator with 11 U.S. warships in the Caribbean, including the USS Gerald R. Ford, and Trump applying maximum pressure. Maduro now stands completely alone. His political end is no longer a question. It's a countdown, boys and girls. So this is really interesting. So Maduro in trouble. Okay, let's move on with, there's more stories with this Venezuela story. Okay, let's go here, share this one. Clandestine weighs in. I'm not exactly sure what's going on in Venezuela, but based on how badly the Dems are throwing a fit about it, I have a hunch. Reminds me of Iran and Ukraine. Destroying Iran's nuclear facilities was not about Iran. It was about Obama and the deep state. Obama's Iran deal is what paved the way for Iran to create nuclear weapons. Obama essentially offshored nuclear weapon development, put it in the hands of ruling deep state families via Iran as a proxy. The same way Obama fought offshored biological weapon development in the Ukraine circa 2014. Obama essentially created rogue proxies around the world with the most dangerous weaponry ever created. Trump is on a mission to destroy it all. I'm not exactly sure what is going on in Venezuela that has Trump's attention, but I think it has to do more than just drug cartels, Venezuela, South America in general. It's been a historical CIA hotspot. And then on the same theme, did they hack the election from Venezuela? Remote login? Something big is about to go down. You can smell it. And and then this is interesting. Donald Trump reposting this bombshell video. Elon Musk might have saved the 2024 election from being stolen. Benny Johnson tells the story how Musk knew that they would win the election, and it appears it's because they identified the overseas systems and machines that were going to perpetrate what we saw in 2020. Now we know why Trump is raging at Venezuela. Apparently, we weren't crazy. Musk tracked down the IP addresses of the Dominion office in Serbia and rendered their computers useless days before the election. Years prior, in 2020, the chairman of Smartmatic's holding company, SGO, this is Trump posting this, let's keep in mind. Years prior in 2020, chairman of Smartmatic's holding company, Mark Malik Brown, he resigned 2020. Guess where his next job was? President of the Open Society Foundation. You got it. George Soros Foundation. Soros being the number one donor of Democrats, DNC, his right-hand man, was the head electronic voting system called Smartmatic, and those Dominion machines, blah, 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 Venezuelan tie-in. So a lot of focus on Venezuela. There's talk that Maduro was in conversation, that he made a phone call to Trump, and he says, hey, how about if I maintain control of the military, but I get back to the country? We have free and open elections. Trump said, you already did that. Nothing happened. So no. What about if I got control of the military, but we have somebody else run the country? Trump goes, no, pack your bags. So this is really interesting, Blake, because there's a lot of pressure on this. And then we've got Gerald Ford aircraft carrier. We also have CIA and armed force assets on the ground in Venezuela now. It's being reported. So it looks like they're either going to take this guy out. Trump said basically leave, or we're going to force you to leave. And again, it's a CIA hotbed. This is strategic. This is a huge story. Yes, Blake and I are on the same page. We don't want any of those long-lasting, no more wars. But we do sanction, and we will support if there's a black ops seat that's undermining the United States of America, and by proxy, the rest of the free world, such as that is, without America, then it must be toppled. It must be removed. We've got to remove all the hindrances inside the United States and outside the United States, so that that beacon of freedom can shine large, bright, and free. That's my take. Blake, your thoughts on Venezuela?
It's a complicated mess, is what Venezuela is. And it's because, remember, Venezuela is still the world's single largest producer of oil. It is only second. It is actually first above Saudi Arabia. So just remember, Venezuela is part of the massive oil production machine for the entire globe, which makes it a big target for foreign influence. And you can understand what's been going on the ground there, and the corrupt governments, successive corrupt governments over time. Yeah, they use socialism, they use communism, they use fascism. They've used it all. Whatever ism you want to attach there to whatever political leader, but the world is in this battle right now, and we call it the white hat, black hat type people, and it really is. It's war between who's going to be the strongest in the new geopolitical system that is forming. And I think Trump, when he showed up in this year and he won, he's basically sent the message to the entire world. We're no longer going to be second fiddle. We're no longer going to allow you to play in our sandbox, in our backyard. China, out. Russia, out. Anybody who is going to play, and most importantly, WF, which is the EU. Let's call for who they are. It's the EU, because they're the ones that are trying to pressure Canada to join the EU as well. So the EU is trying to be the major competitor with the United States. And of course, some of the biggest globalist banks in the world operate out of Europe. So it is a power struggle to get these WF types out of their power block inside South America, Central America. There's concerns that Honduras might go sideways. I see Trump has spoken there to try and get support. Do you know
what's happening there right now?
Well, I'm worried about the socialists taking over again, because there was a total wars in Honduras before.
Yeah.
And El Salvador was just a nightmare, and the drug cartels basically took control of
So
behind that.
they're just having their elections right now, and film footage got out of armed military units coming in with 49% of the vote counted to shut down voting stations because it looked like it was going to be the opposition friendly to Trump. We're going to win in a landslide there. And then the socialist corrupt regime there sent in the military to shut it down before anything could get underway there. So we're seeing, we use the term panic. We're seeing the deep state in panic, not just in Honduras, not just in Venezuela, but all over the place in every pocket, as good is taking more and more territory. It seems that we're gaining increasing amounts of territory, which is a huge plus for us.
Well, and you got a great ally in as we were talking about. Well, Honduras, if it flips, goes in the right direction, that's what they need to stabilize Central America. Well, obviously, El Salvador has done a bang-up job getting rid of MS-13 and the cartels that have been running that, which, again, the cartels, when we talk about drug cartels, highly connected to foreign influence from state governments, from China, from Iran, and all part of what you talked about with Biden and Maduro's talking about. He's trying to blow the whistle on Biden, which I'm saying probably is 100% true, because it was all part of that. We need landing bases to bring in all of these people by the millions around the world so we can flood our borders, which it's probably maybe a story that you want to cover today, which is all connected to filling up rapidly immigration for Democrat voters. They were basically going to rubber stamp them, give them their voting cards, and quickly convert them into Democrats, as the Democrats were losing their power everywhere. And the only way they can maintain their vote is by flooding the nation with new people and to make them dependent off the state. But I think Venezuela is a cornerstone country, which, again, the world's most highest production of oil in the world. It's number one, 303 billion barrels as of 2023. Huge, largest reserves of oil. It is important to maintain a safe and secure fortress North America, a fortress South America, and got allies now in Argentina. Got a good government there on the good guys' side. We just need to, hopefully Brazil. After Venezuela, Brazil will be the next one to talk about safe and fair elections, because they had their own Donald Trump that got thrown in jail, and Bolsonaro was that guy.
Yeah, which is what they do. And they're threatening to throw Marine Le Pen in jail in France. There's real problems.
Yeah. And I hope Trump stands up for Le Pen and says, you touch her, then France, we're cutting you off. You're on your own.
Well, closer to home too, Blake. I mean, with Canada, because how long is it before you and I get rounded up?
Well, I don't think that will happen.
They know who we are.
I think they'll bide their time. They'll have to be very careful, even with Bill C-9 in Canada, to do that. But when we get back, I'll focus on Venezuela for a minute. But this is the cleanup. This is the action that people voted for to make America great again, was to make sure that America's neighbors are safe and secure in the borders. Don't turn them into enemy territories where they're on your border taking shots at you, be it drugs or guns or, other potentially destructive weapons. Anything could come from these countries across the border. And I think Trump's drawing a line in the sand and said to the rest of the world, North America, South America's our backyard, stay the hell out. And I think that's my point on that.
Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, Carney, you've mentioned it before here, Blake, Carney running the country into the ground. It was really interesting today. The guy's name escapes me right now. Zachary is the last name, I believe. Yeah. And he was out posting. He made the comment that, Carney's just robbing Canada blind towards the end, knowing that he's got a limited amount of time, that Trump knew this, that Carney would run the country into the ground, that it would then give justification. And we know Marco Rubio, Secretary of State, has said, listen, other nations where immigration is becoming a problem, if you don't get your ducks in a row, we're going to get them in a row for you, and we're going to put pressure on you. Nobody is more vulnerable to American pressure than Canada.
Yeah.
So we'll return to Canada a little later in this show, but close to Canada on our border is the great state of Minnesota, and holy crap, is the shit hitting the fan there. Tim Walz is in a world of pain right now. There is a focus. He's had one of his like one of the mayors or one of the people on the city councils in Minnesota was up for $250,000, $280,000, basically embezzlement. He took money, funds that were directed to, the Crime Stopper program. So these two little kids were murdered. And so there was this money set aside. If anybody information who killed these kids, we got money here. And so they're coming for it. So they're coming for this guy. They caught him. It's just unbelievable. The corruption in the United States, the corruption in Canada. We had one of our guys up here in Canada talking about spending $280,000 on, ballpark on his spring break in Jamaica.
Mm-hmm.
Some guy, I guess he has family back in Jamaica, and so he's there, and he apparently ran up a bill of $280,000 taxpayer dollars. It must be nice just to fleece the sheep. It's absolutely ridiculous. Let's go in. Let's take a look at and let me lean in because these are small here as I get it. Okay. Oh, that's good. We got him. Okay. That's a good one. Okay. And Daniel Smith is coming in. Okay, well, let's just do this one. Let's do this one. Breaking President Trump on Somalians in Minnesota. They ripped that state for billions of dollars, and they contribute nothing. I don't want them in our country. Their country is no good for a reason. Let them go back to where they came in to fix it. And let's hear hold on, President Trump, please, my beloved Trumpy bear. Let's go back and hear the president.
I'm understanding, and you're going to look at that's good. I hear they ripped off Somalians, ripped off that state for billions of dollars, billions, every year, billions of dollars, and they contribute nothing. The welfare is like 88%. They contribute nothing. I don't want them in our country, I'll be honest with you. Okay? Somebody would say, oh, that's not politically correct. I don't care. I don't want them in our country. Their country is no good for a reason. Their country stinks, and we don't want them in our country. I could say that about other countries, too. Now I'm understanding.
All right, and then we got this one here as well related to it. Repeat violent must be in prisons. They keep harming innocent people. Radicalized, blah, blah, blah. Okay, what's this one about? Sorry, I got this one up here. I don't want that one. In fact, it was related to, and I guess it updated on me, Blake, while I was doing my other thing, which they do tend to do from time to time. Okay, so Tim Walz, the Somalian population, it's all coming out that there was like they were given Social Security numbers, and the money was actually going to one of these Muslim terrorist outfits, of all things, American taxpayer dollars being funneled through the Somalian community. So we're seeing a real crackdown there. And Kristi Noem, I believe it was Kristi Noem at today's press conference, the cabinet meeting, she was saying that 50% of the brand new kind of Social Security numbers that were being given in Minnesota were being given to illegals.
Yep.
So the number is 50%. It was something like 4 million, something like this. That's a lot of bullshit votes coming in to affect elections. So who knows what the American political map would look like if we can get all these illegal, illegitimate votes under control and make sure that Americans are the only ones being allowed to vote. And that would ixnay you and me, my friend. We're in Canada. Yep. We can't vote. We're allowed to vote blue, but that's just the way it's set up. I'm joking. Okay, settle down. Okay, Blake, what's your thoughts? Tim Walz, corruption. He knew what was going on. He let it go on, and as Noam was saying, he was either retarded or he knowingly knew what was going on. So corruption by design.
Yeah, no, it is by design, and it was a vote buying machine. And it was just saying earlier, this has been an effort by the elites within the Democratic Party was to flood America with illegals. And we say illegal, not they tried to change the terminology. They're trying to say, well, they're migrants, or undocumented workers. They try and change the language. No, because if you use the word illegal, it denotes that there was something done illegally, which was being done illegally. Because if you come through the gate legally, you become a legal migrant into the United States, not an illegal one. But they were running this system to flood the voting blocks where they were losing the votes. It's that simple. It's a vote scam, power control scam, using the backs of people that from all other parts of the world, but primarily third world migrants, and that's the scam, because they know they can just put them on welfare and get their vote. And it's just like in Canada. It's the same thing that's happened in Canada. So the Democrats, the Liberal Party, the liberal-esque left-wing parties, if you want to call them, in Europe, all doing the same thing. This was a worldwide scam.
Yeah.
And we're trying to, just for the desperate plea to hold on to power for what was part of their plan. If they could just get it over to a certain point, their Agenda 2030, they could eventually erase all opposition. But now there's a new revolution. The MAGA revolution changed all that. And this is now all being exposed. And I think it's because the Doge crowd guys are working behind the scenes, still showing all these connections. So Trump now has access. His entire administration and cabinet are looking at all of these connections. It's exposed the Tim Walz's. It's exposed the entire machine that has been running behind the scenes to essentially disrupt and when I say like a disruptor company, to disrupt the United States, its constitution, its republic, and then mold it into something else, which is what the World Economic Forum wants, what the EU wants, and now you're seeing the pushback. Now that the gates are wide open, we can see the library is open. It's now open to the public. We're now seeing that rolling out, and the receipts are starting to be delivered from that effort, and it's got to happen. But the problem is on the social side, it's sad that these people are being used. But if they're not going to be part of your country, I mean, it goes right up to the highest level. Let's just call for Ilhan Omar, one of the squad, comes in potentially illegally. They're finding out she might be going back home, but she's even done videos where she talks about she sees herself as a Somali before an American.
Yeah, I know, it's awful.
In the House of Representatives, but she brought her own brother in by
that was husband brother
marrying him.
Yeah.
And saying, well, it's my husband. It's like, no, it's your brother. Sorry, that guy should be on the next plane out, and so should she, but she should also go to jail for fraud.
Why land in Minnesota? Land in the Ozarks, where that kind of thing isn't frowned upon so much.
Or Utah, maybe. Some of the
just kidding, Ozarks.
Just kidding, Utah. As well. But yeah, it's this whole machine is being unraveled, and I think as we go into the 2026 midterms, people are panicking, saying, "Oh no, the Democrats are going to gain seats," and I don't know. I think we're seeing this is all blowing up.
Yeah, we got a big one today, Blake, in Tennessee. So if you're in Tennessee watching the program, make sure you get out and vote today, because they got a real lunatic left-wing type trying to run for governor over there. So hopefully we can get the mega candidate in. We'll see what happens. It's a volatile world out there politically.
Oh, can I answer Chuck T? He's just got a point. He's asking a question earlier. He goes, has Canada's elections been on the up and up for the past 20 years? I would say in the last 10 years, there's been problems. And I think we've got people now looking into it, exposing it, and not just federally, but provincially, especially in the last election. There's all kinds of questions.
Yeah.
In our British Columbia election, there's all kinds of questions. Some weird stuff going on in BC right now.
Yeah.
The reprimand or remanded, I think the remanded, if you follow him on X, they'd be doing an incredible amount of deep dive into the corruption within our electoral system, specifically provincially here in BC, but could spread across the country. So yeah, just to answer that. Yeah, things are kind of, let's just say, questionable.
Yeah. Yeah, I think you can question. There's nothing wrong with questioning. There's so much news going on. Okay, I found the clip of the guy that was embezzling. So we'll follow this. More corruption in Minnesota. Minneapolis Regional Chamber of Commerce CEO Jonathan Weinhagen pleads guilty to embezzling hundreds of thousands of dollars. Political donor to Tim Walz and Mayor Jacob Fry. He created a fake consulting firm instead of funneling money to himself. They caught up with him. We'll see how this goes.
Why'd you do it, Jonathan?
No comment, guys. You have a good afternoon.
What do you want to say to the families of those 3 kids?
No comment, guys. Have a good afternoon.
Former Minneapolis Chamber CEO Jonathan Weinhagen pleaded guilty to mail fraud to bring his $213,000 embezzlement case to an end. That includes $30,000 that was meant to be reward money to Crime Stoppers to help solve the shootings of 3 Minneapolis kids. Weinhagen also admitted fleecing 2 businesses of $60,000 they thought was going to all of Minneapolis, the political action committee that supports Mayor Jacob Fry. Weinhagen could get 2 or 3 years in prison when he is sentenced at a later date. I'm Lou Ragoose. Follow for more news.
All right, so there's that character. So, embezzlement. So there's a lot of corruption. It's going on a lot of places. But the good news is, just like this Weinhagen guy, they're capturing him. Things are happening. Yeah, it is a color revolution. Blake, do you know what the definition of color revolution is?
Not by definition, but I know what it is.
Yeah, it's basically it's subversion from within by all these. Mark Kelly would be an example. Seditious Six, all this sort of thing, to create agitation, the kind of thing Blake was alluding to earlier.
Ukraine.
The Ukraine, all this sort of thing, where you're destabilizing the United States through various means.
Well, and they tried to do that in the Middle East in Egypt, but it failed. When they did the Arab Spring was another psyop attempt to try and do a color revolution throughout the Middle East, and Canada. We're seeing it now. I mean, we're seeing a color revolution here, and that's been ongoing since 2020. Started with the BLM riots, then they used the residential school thing to destabilize Canada as being a nation, and we're still living under that revolutionary type of experience right now. And I'm saying experience very facetiously. It's horrible what we're going through.
It's really interesting in terms of the political climate here on YouTube. Where seemingly we're allowed to get away with more. At one time, people are getting tossed off. A lot of the old Q accounts, people that follow Q, they're back here. It's not QAnon, by the way. That's the lamestream, the legacy media's got name for it. It's just Q. It's the Q team, really, more than anything else. And so though a lot of those guys in the Matrix, I noticed, was back as one of those X22 report. These are great channels, both of them, love them both. But I saw this, and this is where it gets really interesting, is when you've got major players within the administration, none higher than the president himself, who Q team calls Q plus. Check this out. This is kind of interesting. And I want to make sure I'm getting the right clip. Okay, I want to go to an account, if you can believe it. It's called Rubber Duck. All right, where's my rubber?
A trucker handle from Convoy.
Yeah, it's like that, Blake. It's the Rubber Ducky.
I think we got ourselves a convoy.
There's Rubber Ducky. Check this out. So Rubber Duck goes, check this out. Secretary of War Pete Hegseth winks to the Anons, which are see, there's Q, and then the people that follow Q are the Anons. by posting a meme that appeared on the Q board 2 days earlier. A meme currently going scorched earth on X. So there's the date, 11/28/25. Franklin, the little Pepe, targets narco terrorists. This was posted to 8chan on the Q boards, right? Pete Hesketh was looking at the board and he grabbed it because it didn't appear on X. He grabbed it from the Q board itself. Our Secretary of War is pulling memes from Q boards. Probably nothing. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Keck, it's been a blast of a ride. And there's the narco boats and the U.S. forces taking them out. So Pete Hesketh referencing Q. And then there's this one. This is interesting. So we've got U.S. Special Envoy Steve Witkoff and Jared Kushner, President Trump's son-in-law, were seen dining and strolling in Moscow tonight with Kirill Dmitriev, head of the Russian Direct Investment Fund. So there you've got Witkoff and Kushner hanging out with Dmitriev. And then this guy goes, Ripcord goes, oh, you mean Steve Witkoff and Jared Kushner are meeting with Kirill Dmitriev, who posts Q sayings and memes all the time? That one? And there's Pepe Keck. It took too long, but exposing the fake media machine by the White House is a crucial step forward. Truth, deep state, UK, EU, globalists sad again. This is from Kirill Dmitriev himself. You can fool all the people some of the time, some of the people all the time. You can't fool us all the time. Time to obliterate the deep state. Do it, Q. Time to obliterate. And there's the president, Q plus. Do it, Q. Time to obliterate. So this is stuff that the president himself is posting. So conspiracy no more is what we like to say when you've got major players inside Trump's administration. One of the most famous Q drops a long time that had people scratching their heads was watch the water, watch the water. And you've got Dan Scavino posting a seemingly innocuous post 2 days ago of just a beach, just water. And all the anons go, we know, Dan, we're watching the water, because there are many people that suggest that Scavino is part of the Q team. Scavino, White House chief of staff. So legitimacy is coming into area where there was no legitimacy. And in a real surprise today, this story broke. There was a story that was planted. It's called the wrap-up smear. Nancy Pelosi famously talked about it. Yeah. Where Pete Hesketh had apparently ordered troops to shoot him in the water, just gun him down like a Vietnam war crimes kind of activity. And of all places for it to be refuted by, this came out in the Wall Street Journal, is the New York Times counteracted it and said this is a bogus story. It's made up. It's no truth to it whatsoever. It was there to dirty the administration. So remarkable work by the New York Times, of all places, help coming from a corner where you'd least expect it.
Yeah.
So, I find I'm Q. You're not Q at all, are you, Blake? But I'm putting myself out there. And when I see stuff like Hesketh pulling it off the Q boards themselves, when you've got Kushner and Witkoff, these are big Trump advisors hanging out with Dmitriev, the guy that's actually posting Q memes. What the actual hell? So, do it yourself. And this Sue's got a good one here. Is that the one that explains how it all works out?
It's just about Q. It's super cool.
It's a long post. If you're curious about Q or anything, definitely check that post out. Really interesting. Blake, your thoughts. What do you think that they're actually on the boards pulling information out, posting American people? What do you make of that?
I because I don't follow it, I'm shooting from the dark here, because I'm not in those forums to track what's being stated. I'm on X, so it's whatever is posted on X. I kind of follow that, but I don't know. Why would they? My only question is, if they're working to that way, is it a way they're just signaling to their base that, hey, we're doing this behind the scenes, just keeping you in the loop in a very private manner, or is it trying to like being prophets calling out to America to keep them saying, here's what's happening, but we're staying anonymous through all this.
I think it's a little bit of both. It's a message of hope. It's a
Yeah.
message of hope that Trump's aware, because you can't explain everything in the public eye because there's a lot that's covert and
Yeah.
the amount of work that the legacy media went to undermine Q, the fact that anybody that even mentioned it on this platform of YouTube was removed outright, banned, is significant. Go ahead.
Well, and they also made it sound like it was a counter psyop, right, against MAGA too. I remember seeing those stories running out that it was done to discredit as well, to say, well, you guys are just being duped by a bunch of fake MAGA people that are working for the feds. So yeah, I mean, I'm aware of it, I understand, but I'm not in it, tracking it. So I I tip my hat to you and your comments on it on that one.
Well, yeah, I just find it. I mean, it's undeniable when Pete Hesketh is actually going to the boards and pulling them off the board to put it out for the general public. What the actual fuck?
Yeah,
and then you've got Dmitry Krylov, and he's hanging around with Jared Kushner and Wiskoff, or whatever the guy's name is, Trump's money guy.
Yeah.
Hello?
Well, and just so anybody, you might say, well, look, there's the proof. Trump is controlled by Russia. Well, no, Trump is getting investment all around the world, and he wants to end all the wars by making all these countries better off.
Yeah.
You don't want a starving broke Russia. You don't want a starving broke China. You don't want a starving broke anywhere, because they become dangerous areas. The more wealth they produce, the more they can stand on their own 2 feet. They can be better trading partners, and it's better for the entire world.
It's also interesting when Marjorie Taylor Greene made her infamous departure from politics. She's leaving in January. She said there is no plan, and this is one of the things from the Q drop, says trust the plan. So why would even Marjorie Taylor Greene even go, oh, and there is no plan? Again, be careful who you follow, is what Q said. Be careful who you follow. Sue has encouraged me to go there and grab this link from the girl and just read a little bit of it for you kids. Q School and the Cult That Never Was. Sky Girl High is bringing the news. How questions sovereign thinking broke the spell. The puppet masters didn't fear Q because it was confusing. They feared Q because it taught people to think. That is why Q was never attacked for being wrong. It was attacked for being dangerously truthful. So the deep state did the only thing they could. They created, quote, QAnon, a nefarious label, a thick smoke screen, a scarecrow version of Q they could control. They stapled together outrageous claims to it, glued fringe actors to it, mocked it, dirtied it, and told the world, see, this is ridiculous. But none of it was Q. Their caricature was the cult. The brand they manufactured was the extremism. Their distortion was the true danger. They used it to censor, divide, and malign the people of this country. Here's the truth. Cults demand obedience. Q demanded observation. Cults say, don't think. Q said, think for yourself. The deep state couldn't stop the questions, so they smeared the questionnaire. Because once the individual mind begins to ask, the spell begins to break. Q School and the Cult That Never Was, full article on it. Sue's dropped the link for you folks. If you're interested in learning more about that, make sure you do so. Like and repost from my end. So that's basically what the plan was, to dirty it. Same with Pizzagate. There was no doubt that there was problems with that establishment. The elites did go there. People were there. But they had a random guy go in there, shoot bullets into the floor of the premises, and basically was carted away as he was like a Q nut that went and shot the place up. So how do you discredit something from the sublime to the ridiculous? So you get an operation in there. How do you discredit a convoy? Oh, I don't know. Put somebody in there with a Nazi flag maybe to stand out. How do you discredit people that want controlled immigration? Oh, I don't know. Put a bunch of people in khakis and blue shirts and bandanas
and masks
and throw them on a bridge holding patriotic slogans. Meant to confuse and to divide. So I never trust any of those people. I call them psyops, and there's one
They
going
are
on
psyops.
in Canada right now. The Americans have their own with the Patriot Front, they're called, and we've got our own now.
Hopefully, their funding will start drying up.
Well, I think it has. I mean, it really has taken a hit. Okay, let me see. Okay, there was another question about Honduras. Okay. This is a big news story. Yeah, the Dells are giving billions to American kids. This is great, billions of dollars. Okay, what do you think of Trump pardoning the ex-president of Honduras? He was up on, I think, drug trafficking charges, something of this nature. Definitely a nefarious activity. What do you think? What's Trump doing? What's your take?
I don't know the circumstances behind that ex-president, but if he is, he must have a rationale behind it. Could have been, no pun intended, trumped up charges, which we have seen for lots of leaders. Bolsonaro, you can go around the world. Le Pen, they're trumping up charges against anybody who's opposition to the globalist agenda.
So for yourself again, go look into it and see exactly where the charges against this guy legit.
Yeah.
My experience has taught me never second guess President Trump. He's been right about everything. Trump was right about everything.
Well, he'll have information access that we don't, and that's the intel on him. And he's, as I said, they've been cleaning up the books everywhere, getting rid of all the junk and the let's just say the black hats that have been working to destabilize the entire world. And I think that, you're going to see these leaders that have been attacked, who've been democratically elected, and they've been tried and throw them in jail. But that's the sign of a fascist state, folks. That's what we're up against. That's the real fascism. It's a global fascism. It's a soft fascism. It comes across as liberal, but it's not. It's fascism 101 we're watching. And we're defeating it. We're the true anti-fascists, not those guys running around with masks in the streets. So, but yeah, Trump will do what he can. It sounds like he's trying to help Honduras get it stabilized. That will help they'll make sure it doesn't spill over into, because they'll try to disrupt all Central America and make it problematic again.
Okay, so this is an example of QAnon versus Q. So Q's the real deal. If you read the Q drops, Q disavowed any alignment. So here's the conspiracy from the sublime to the ridiculous. The idea goes that John Kennedy Jr. never died in that plane crash with his wife off the coast of, where were they going? The place where the Kennedys used to hang out, out there by the islands out in Washington, D.C. I forget that.
Nantucket, in that area, or Martha's Vineyard.
I think it was Martha's Vineyard. They're flying their airplane out there. John dies in the 1980s, 1990s, right? He goes down. His plane goes down. Yeah, I guess the 1990s. Him and his wife. And so the quote QAnon garbage that came out was, oh, John Kennedy never died in that. He's a superhero kind of entity, and he's coming back to save us all, a la Jesus. Working with Trump because they were good friends, and the story goes. Q said it's nonsense. It's meant to disparage the real truth about what we're doing here. Don't buy into it. Reject it utterly. But go look into it. But it's absolutely nonsense. So disavowed by Q himself. Yeah. So there's the thing. Q team. Look into the facts of the pizza place. Pretty sick facts. Well, of course, we know about the Podesta artwork, the Jeffrey Dahmer golden statue, the headless statue that's positioned. This is John Podesta's brother. And then it's a real rabbit hole, and it's an ugly one, but it ties into NXIVM, it ties into Epstein, all the worst stuff.
All of it.
The interesting thing about anybody now Trump's given the go-ahead, clear everything on Epstein now. Trump said, get it out there, publish everything. So Trump's done everything he can. He's signed off. Go show it all. It's out of his hands now. But it's interesting and telling that there's artwork of George Bush Jr., George W. Junior Bush with the little blocks and the the 9/11 theme with the little paper airplanes, and then the other one with Bill Clinton in the blue dress. So I think those things were there because Epstein was kind of sending a message to those cats that I got dirt on you fuckers.
Yeah.
And I'm putting you in a dangerous position with the dress and Monica Lewinsky, my most frequent flyer coming into, the Epstein Island. And then, of course, the other one with George Bush with 9/11. A lot of questions surround that.
Yeah.
So conspiracy, truth, fact, we're seeing a lot of these, quote, conspiracies are starting to come into the light, a clear light of day, and we're finding that they weren't so conspiratorial after all. In fact, there was real truth, and there was real concerted effort to smother the truth from ever getting out about the 2020 election. That you would be kicked off this platform. We couldn't even talk about that 10 months ago on this very platform. We could not discuss it. The FDA has just come out, truth to fiction. The FDA just came out that Pfizer in their trials lost 10 kids.
Yep.
That 10 kids, healthy children, died as a result of that. That information never came out. That was suppressed.
Well, the animal trials read the animal trials. It's terrifying. All the animals were dying. So they had to stop and they start giving it to humans. We went from dying animals to, well, let's just put it into humans and see what happens. It's absolutely insane.
Yeah, and there was another report came out that Moderna, there was a death unreported. And then there's an account I follow, and I just, my heart goes out to this guy, but he's really an advocate for what's happened with the vaccines. The account is called Answers for Sean. So his healthy 17-year-old son took a dose, and it ended him. He died. From directly as a result.
Well, yeah, we're seeing athletes. And matter of fact, there's a medical explanation of why the athletes were dying, because of what it did to healthy hearts, especially people who are operating at a much more higher capacity, who are athletes that were dropping dead from unnecessarily being forced to take the jab. So, yeah.
That's all right. You're doing good. He's a fellow brother of the American Revolution chapter in Austin, Texas. That's all right, son. You're doing good there. But, this is just the nature of things. Okay, let's grab another one. Okay, this is kind of a fun one. Again, everything coming out. Again, I got to get up close just to see because I got a little clip. Okay, here we go, Blake. So this is good news. To Benny Johnson, to James Comey and Letitia James, you celebrated too early. The DOJ is expected to present new indictments this week. No one is above the law.
Yeah,
and that is another kind of line that's going around. But let's play the clip. I think it's 25 seconds. Here we go.
Director James Comey and New York Attorney General Letitia James to a grand jury. According to people familiar with the situation inside the Justice Department, it is expected to happen quickly, perhaps within a week. The court tossed out both the Comey and James cases. The judge found interim U.S. Attorney Lindsay Halligan did not have the legal authority of a prosecutor when the two were indicted. Joining us now is Tom Dubai, Director.
All right, and then we move on to this one. Hey, Adam Schiff, TikTok, you lying mother ever. Great going, Anna Polina. Adam Shifty Schiff is guilty of crimes against our country. This is a quote by the president himself. Remember this, Anna Polina Luna did something no other member of Congress did. She entered into the record the $32 million Adam Schiff misappropriated for the Russian collusion lie. Trump voided the auto-pen pardons. Schiff must stand trial for all his crimes. So This is something we're seeing. A lot of the accountability question. Again, Trump still has a lot of opposition within the GOP. This is why he keeps yelling for renewed calls. It's an ongoing thing. Filibuster must end. We got to get some justice through. We just had Trump's pick in New Jersey defeated by Democrats there. And the Trump goes on to say that the system's so bad that anytime I've got 8 district attorneys lined up in different jurisdictions, I can't get them through because the Democrats have control of the system. All it takes is one Democrat senator, and my pick. I'm forced to choose a Democrat. The fix is in on that.
Yep.
So Trump wants to see a change to that. So there's struggles, but there's also victories. It's a really an amazing tug of war, like an arm wrestle. We see us going back and gaining, and I think we're kind of in that stage right now. I think we're winning, but boy, it's a real slugfest, like a real.
Well, again, these guys have had 30 plus, maybe even 45 to 50 years since the 1960s when they started building out the Great Societies Act to entrench themselves. It created this massive swamp, and that's why it's time to drain the swamp. Actually, if anything, Trump is acting like an old school Democrat. He's there to protect the workers. He wants American workers to be a powerful middle class again, not be disrupted and destroyed to offshore globalist interests and cheap labor. So just so all you Democrats who may be listening, Trump is a Democrat. Take a look at what he's doing. His traditional roots is to protect American workers. That is an old school Democrat.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah, exactly right. By the way, I just found the Tim Walz with the kind of story with the Somalis and all this that's going on in his jurisdiction. So I apologize for not finding it earlier. As I weed through some of I got so many tabs open. Here we go. Breaking: the local news in Minnesota is now reporting that Scott Bassett is investigating Tim Walz overseeing taxpayer dollars going to a Somalian terror group. This is getting really bad for Tim. So here's the clip. Let's see how we do in Minnesota.
Could some of the money stolen in one of Minnesota's fraud cases have gone to a terrorist group? That's what the federal government is now investigating. U.S. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent blames Minnesota Governor Tim Walz and the Biden administration, saying they are investigating allegations that hardworking Minnesotans' tax dollars may have been diverted to the terrorist organization Al-Shabaab. Republican members of the Minnesota delegation called on the U.S. attorney to investigate those allegations late last month. President Donald Trump has repeatedly blamed Governor Walz and Minnesota's Somali community for fraud and crimes in the state. Walz says he welcomes a federal investigation.
Anybody that would allow those people into a state and pay billions of dollars out to Somalia. We give billions of dollars to Somalia. It's not even a country because it doesn't function like a country. It's got a name, but it doesn't function like a country. Yeah, there's something wrong with Walz.
This is cruelness. This is meanness. It's aimed at a broader community. And as far as demonizing our Somali community, maybe he could help us on some things.
We'll continue to bring you updates.
Give
as
me
we
more
learn
money
more.
to give
You can
away.
always find those on TV and streaming at CBS News Minute.
All right. Very interesting, Blake. So your take on that. Obviously, you can disregard what Walz is saying. He's just trying to deflect, protect, do whatever the hell he can. But this is going to burst open. I think he's done politically. I don't think there's any way he's going to stop the information of all this corruption coming out. They're supporting Al-Shabaab. Money is being funneled through U.S. taxpayers into terrorist groups. Give me a break.
Well, Somalia is not Trump's 100% correct. Somalia is not even really a nation anymore. It's not a united country. It's a fractured system of warlords that control territories. And we've known this scam was running in Canada for a long time. We have entire building blocks in Montreal and in Toronto that were full of Somali women specifically that were brought out of the war-torn area 20, 25 years ago, and entire, I said, apartment blocks, they were put up there by the government, funded with huge, like we see today for our migrants getting thousands of dollars of free money, but they were sending 50% of that money back to Somalia into the hands of the warlords. And that's what Trump is talking about specifically. They're saying Al-Shabaab being one of the terrorists, but it is the warlords' money. They take a dowry, if you want to call it, a tax on all the Somalis around the world, and they have to kick back money to them. Otherwise, they have Somali gangs on the ground here that work for those guys
Yeah,
out of Somalia, and they're running the pirate scam, and they're doing all that, which is, I mean, it just the country should be taken over by another country. There should be an invasion, and literally, if they're a country that's no longer able to show that they're able to stand on their own 2 feet, and then they're open for any other country to claim it, and that is the sign when you're a failed state. You lose the ability to govern your own country. Either the people there rise up and form a new government, or stability and civilized society. If not, then they're open to the rest of the world. I mean, go back to the days of colonialism. You go in and you take over and you plant your flag and say, it's mine now. And that area used to be under colonial control. I think it was under Italy way back, if I recall.
Yeah, Italy had a presence in North Africa.
Yeah, and well, in the Horn, right? They were over there in Ethiopia, and of course World War II changed all that, right? So that actually the end of World War II caused a lot of problems worldwide because the old colonial order broke apart.
Started to collapse,
financially. But yeah, anyways, it's crazy what's going on there. And it's a big scam. It's just this nonstop honey holes that you're finding where they were using to funnel money for political reasons, just to buy votes. I mean, it's vote buying schemes. It's horrible.
Interesting. A few months ago, if you'll recall, the president went in, it was through Hesketh and the Pentagon, and they were saying, look, we're tired of all the leaks. The media's floating around. They have permanent offices, their own offices in there, and CBS and NBC, and there was a big cleansing of the rats. Basically, they were made to sign kind of like an NDA almost, so that the Pentagon could see what they were going to publish, because we just saw WAPO do it again with this fake report that the New York Times, of all people, came in and they shut it down and said, this WAPO story is full of shit. There's no truth to it. So out with CNN, out with NBC, MSNBC, out with all those cats, and in with Jack Posobiec and Laura Loomer, of all people, and a bunch of other cats. And they're now able to ask questions. They're taking up the old positions, the old office spaces that these legacy media people had, because they were these free roaming journalists, and they are journalists, were given the liberty, or they had no problem agreeing to the Pentagon's terms. It's not going to stop their reporting, because they aren't trying to undermine the administration. If you're trying to undermine the administration, there's a problem. If you're not, there's no issue.
And it's okay. To ask tough questions, but let's call it for what they were. They were a propaganda arm. That's what ended up happening.
Well, this is just crazy. Catturd goes, he loves it. Justin, Matt Gaetz, Laura Loomer, James O'Keefe, and Jack Posobiec are all asking questions at the Department of War press conference, infuriating the lamestream media. Let's hear the kind of question that they're asking. Let's make our volume go good. And here we go.
James. Hi, James O'Keefe. Nicholas Terza, branch chief here at the Pentagon, was caught on a video in the spring stating, quote, Trump is illegitimate. We're going to resist him, quote, everything he does. We know there are other people like this that work here. My question is, what steps is the Department of War taking to identify and address personnel who are in the self-described resistance movement?
Thank you for the question. That's why the work you all do is so important. This is a big building, and we want to make sure that we have the absolute best people working in it to protect Americans every single day. We don't take lightly what every single civilian and military person in this building do every single day. They do a lot of hard work, and we want to make sure that they're up to the task, that they're on board and willing to serve our commander-in-chief, who was elected by the whole of the American people, to serve as our president. And we support him 100% here at the Department of War. That is our mission. That is our chain of command. James.
Hi, James O'Keefe.
All right. So there's James O'Keefe in action. You got to love it. I mean, I love it. I have my bias, but there's nothing wrong with the question. You got the questions there. There's a guy that avowed, his mission in life is to take down Trump. He's in the administration there in the War Department. What are you guys doing to get rid of these these bad actors? Great question. Great to see
Yeah.
it. You love to see it. Blake, we're going to move on to another story. This is okay. Let me make sure I get my thing going. Good. Okay, let's go. Yeah, this is what I want. Okay, here we go. Blake, this is going to be near and dear to you. It's a really important story, and wow, really interesting. This is the Wealth Moose with a Canadian yellow Canadian leaf, Mr. Wealth Moose. Breaking massive U.S. immigration shift. Washington is preparing new EB2 NIW pathway tailored for Canadian skilled trades. Woo-hoo! Opening the door to welders. Sue, I've got to learn welding now. Iron workers, heavy equipment operators, electricians, and HVAC techs. Concrete workers. I mix mud. That's me. Supervisor, project managers, contracts, trades, business owners. Why it matters. Direct path to U.S. green card. Woo-hoo! Live and work anywhere in America. Red state. Woo-hoo! Eligible for U.S. citizenship after 5 years. Holy smokes. A once-in-a-generation talent pull from Canada's struggling labor market. Canada is losing nurses, engineers, techs. Now it may lose its trades workforce too. When the U.S. opens the door this wide, people will walk through it. USA, USA, USA.
Yeah.
Here's the man himself. He goes on for 4 minutes. I won't play the clip, but I will drop the link directly to his thing, and you can listen to this young man wax eloquent about that, folks.
5 years.
Well, and this is a huge shot across the bow. If not, the brain drain will just go beyond what used to be the brain drain. Now will be the physical labor drain on the skilled trades of Canada. What's left of them? So this will put the Canadian elbows up crowd that are desperate to try and put on a valiant fight to preserve their monopoly and control over Canada, over all of its industries, on notice that you're not going to have any workers to work on all those big projects.
Who are the elbows uppers? What do they do for?
I can tell you who they are. 100%. It's so easy.
I want to know, who are they?
Union and public sector pension funds invested in. So the government workers.
Yeah.
And the government managers and all the bureaucracies across Canada at all levels, their investments in the big asset management companies like Brookfield. They brought their guy in to run Canada, elbows up, managed by the $1 trillion asset management class, so that you will own nothing and be happy. So these guys are the pensioners who own it, who work for the government. Historically, they have become too powerful in Canada. They are becoming private public sector control, and that's what they're doing. So this is Trump saying to Carney, well, guess what? If we're, you know what, you're losing all your factory work. We just had 1,000 people lose their jobs who are skilled factory workers, and who Carney showed up not a few months ago showing, oh, this is the Alcor in Ontario, Hamilton. And he did a photo shoot there for the steel manufacturing about, we're going to preserve there. And guess what? Boom, all goes to jobs. Guess where those guys are going to get hired now? In the factories. They're going to work in the United States. They're going to be recruited to come back there. Prepare for.
Because we're living in Allentown.
So I think Carney's hand is like all the way over right now, putting on the fake production that this is somehow.
That's the real. You got to admit, that's a real kick in the nuts.
Let's call it for what it is. AI is destroying the white collar class. Where is going to be all the money made in the future? It's the blue collar. If you've got a skilled trade, if you can physically provide the service, that's where all the money is going. People are leaving Bitcoin and crypto now and all the crazy clown money like that, and they're moving towards gold, silver. It's exploding that side of it. So metals are off the charts. There's more demand for all the metals. So if you work in mining, Trump wants you. If you work in fuel production and through energy sectors, he wants you. He's going to drain Canada until Canada is on its knees saying we're going to join, which is interesting. Carney desperately tried to keep Alberta. If you want to, in the private chat there, bring up a couple of those links, because this correlates with this, is that Alberta is the Saudi Arabia of North America. And Alberta just did a petition where it has passed with overwhelming numbers of voters that support an independence vote for Alberta.
Okay, well, let me pull it up. We'll watch it, and then we'll go right back to you. Okay.
Well, it's just a post, but you can watch a bit of it. But yeah,
because it's got a boy talking, and he's all excited, Blake.
Yeah.
Bert, a proud dad, goes, Alberta just verified a petition, 400,000. If this ever goes to a vote and the majority say no, that's a separation question where people told the whole story. Do you want to play that or what?
Yeah, well, you don't have to, but you can.
Okay.
A short little blurb, but I don't think he's 100% behind. We'll see, but we'll see
Okay, we'll leave
but
it.
it's a good point. It's just it's just that the point is that over 400,000 people signed the petition in a province that had something like 17 or 18%, I think, of the actual electors from the last election signed that petition, which is unheard of for a petition to have that many people sign up. The second link on there, which is allied to what this is the shot across the bow from Trump, is that our oil production and our pipelines, Daniel Smith, who it's in the private chat there, the other link.
Sorry, I got the wrong link. Let me get this fixed.
Yeah, which is important because this is Carney trying to salvage or make the appearance to keep Alberta happy and part of Canada, to fight to do it. But guess what? This is the UCP, which is the political party Daniel Smith leads, which is United Conservative Party.
I support a strong.
Whoops, sorry. Keep going.
So she's at their convention this past week and literally she makes the announcement about the Carney pipeline deal for Alberta. And listen to the crowd, how they respond to, well, we can keep us in Canada now, and holy smokes. Just listen.
Okay, tell our American friends who this lady is.
She is the equivalent of the governor of Alberta. We call her a premier. She's the premier of Alberta, which is our oil-rich province.
Yeah, it's the one Trump wants. Okay, Here she goes.
As you know, I support a strong and sovereign Alberta within a united Canada. I know we might have a bit of a difference of opinion on that, but I hope people today feel a lot more confident that Canada works than they did a couple of days ago.
Oh, fuck Canada. Whoa!
Wow.
There's CBC.
Yeah. Wow. So we're talking about booze. Yeah. I know. We heard the meeting people were like, wow. And we know this group is pretty against the idea of working with Canada, but that shows you how much.
As you know,
all right.
So nobody's buying it. I think Albertans are smart. They're the ones that are going to stand up to Carney's tyranny in the WEF, and they're saying no. But as I said, I think Carney's a double agent in this. He goes where Brookfield goes. He goes where the money goes. He goes where the $2 trillion he's put up as part of the investment strategy with our pension funds to try to encourage investment into Canada, but it's going to continue to fail. And Trump just made this movement will drain Canada. All will be left is pouring in millions more of unskilled laborers from third world countries to try and prop up, which Trump will not allow it any further. I think Rubio's closed the door on that. Said, Canada, if you go that way, then we're going to step in.
Yeah, the State Department's got its eyes laser beamed on Canada right now.
Yeah. And we are in there because we have lost control of our country to these globalist scum. And I'm calling them scum because they're scum. They don't believe in democracy. They're trying to convert us into the EU. The whole land claims thing is a new one today. Of course, you might have seen in Quebec and Ontario, the entire Ontario Valley is now being claimed. Essentially, the whole thing across Canada. So here's where this is headed. These guys are funded. The WF wants to take us back to nobles controlling the land. Losing democracy, you'll own nothing, be happy. The own nothing, be happy simply means you'll become a serf on the land again, being provided by those that own it and run it. And that's what the model is, which means democracy is being destroyed. And as I said, I don't think they thought Trump would win. I thought they could probably cheat their way out of this, but Trump is now part of that revolution. So the spirit of 1776 has risen again against the nobles of Europe that are trying to re-nobilize and feudalize our systems. We ain't going to do it. Canada, you need to stand up. You need to be ready to fight because you're going to have to fight hard to get these guys out of here.
Well, I think it's fantastic. And ladies and gentlemen, look for me. I'm going to be an exotic dancer by night, but welder by day. Welder by day, exotic dancer at night. I'm just going to get water on me and everything.
Let's get Rachel's metal artwork.
What a feeling. Oh, I'm just dancing. Well, Blake, thank you so much for another riveting show. It goes fast. I mean, the stories go ahead.
My new handle. You saw it there. Oh, it disappeared.
Okay, where's your handle? There it is. Blake McKenzie, Dusty Trails.
I've got X has let me get a special handle that I wanted. It's kind of like you can do that now on X. You can get a specialized handle. So I had to wait a few days, but they gave it to me. I got Dusty Trails. So you can find me at x.com/Dusty
Follow
Trails.
Blake over there. He's got a good commentary. He pulls up some good stuff. He's not as active over there as I am. I'm like repost. I'm just nuts. But anyway, Blake, I love you. Thank you so much for this, folks. We're going to be back Friday for another Political Nooner. Thumbs up, subscribe, and share the video. Tell the kids. By gum, there's a couple of crazies out there in Canada that love Trump. Well, I love Trump. He don't, but he's he's so cute. Okay, we love you, everybody. Thank you so much. Bye for now. Poof. Oh, and I'll be back live on my other channel, Rachel's Ghost. Just Google Rachel's Ghost, and today at 4:00 I'm doing a live stream. So for you music people, we'll see how it goes.